Welcome to Business Class, a podcast for people wanting to upgrade their thinking, upgrade their learning, and upgrade their life. I'm your host, Eugenia Panderhos, founder of Business Class Collective, best-selling author, and life coach. If you're an entrepreneur, a startup, or someone who dreams of reaching their full potential, then you're in the right place. You'll feel empowered and inspired to design the life you've always wanted. Let's do this. Hello, gorgeous people, and welcome back to the show. I'm so happy to have you here. This week, I'm introducing Sally Prosser from Queensland. She is a voice coach, and she will help you match your voice to your dream. She'll provide tips on how to have a voice that's clear, confident, and one that connects. I can't wait to introduce her to you, so let's get started. Sally, welcome to the show. I'm thrilled to have you with me today to learn more about you, the person, and your journey in life and business. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, Jeannie, it's so lovely to be here and chat with you again. So, I grew up in a little town called Wollongong, south of Sydney, possibly not too much of a little town. And I'm one of 4 kids. And I remember when I was about 6 years old, all I wanted for Christmas was a microphone with a stand. Like, I have no idea how much it was, but I felt like when I got this microphone, I had unwrapped this like a car. I was so excited. And so I got it all out. And the first thing I did was give a thank you speech to my whole family. Well, actually, it probably was a thank you speech to Santa, let's be real, for giving me this microphone. And I feel like that was the start of me loving voice and loving speaking. And so from then, I did speech and drama as a kid, and I was in the school debating and public speaking competitions. And then I went into radio and TV news reporting. And then I was a spokesperson for a company. And so all throughout that, voice has been such a big theme. And I feel like it's something that I was born with and meant to do.
That is fascinating. Tell me, Sally, is there anyone in your ancestry that performed or sang? Because usually these skills that we have as young children have actually come from somewhere else, I think, like through the bloodline. So do you know anything about that? Or
Yeah, it's such a great question and something I actually looked into, and I couldn't find anything. I think my great-grandfather played violin after he found it in the back of a taxi one night, but that seems quite far away from what I'm doing. I guess my dad, he worked at the steelworks, yet he was such a great storyteller. I always remember at barbecues, people would gather around and he had this really great expression when he spoke, and a lot of people said, "Oh, John, you have a voice for radio." So maybe it was something that people before me were meant to go into, and I've just carried that into something more substantial.
oh, that's fascinating, isn't it? We're the sum of our ancestors, I think, and our immediate surroundings. What inspired you to create your business and how did you start?
So I started this business. It's going to be 5 years in August. So 2018. And I am not the common story. You'll hear, oh, I was in my corporate job and I was getting sick of it and I thought there must be more to do, and people started their own business. For me, I really loved my job in PR. I had a fantastic team. I had a fantastic boss. And in a lot of ways, they gave me the confidence to do this. And it started because I was in meetings, doing what I do, sharing about what was going on. And after one meeting, a woman came up to me who I hadn't spoken to that much, and she said, "Oh, Sal, how do you always say what you want to say in meetings?" And I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" She said, "Oh, I really struggle to speak up. I write down what I want to say, but then I go to say something and I get interrupted or someone else says it. And I thought, oh, this is no good. There's heaps of things I can share in terms of the content that you say and the way that you say it. So we sat in the kitchen at one lunchtime and I was like, right, this is what you do. And she said, wow, like that is so helpful. And I think that was when it really dawned on me that I had this skill set that I wasn't using to its full potential. And then I was like, well, at the time I had no pets, no kids, no boyfriend. So I thought if I go off now and give it a go and I fall flat on my face, it'll all be on me. So I thought, what the hell? And I quit my job and the rest is history.
Wow, that's bold and brave, but also you got to see yourself through someone else's eyes. And that kind of, put the light onto you and you realize that you have a skill set that's unique and other people admired. Having a voice, especially in meetings, is really important. And being able to articulate your thoughts and ideas and input is equally important. So, wow, it just started from someone being inspired by you and you backed yourself.
I feel like the main thing that sets me apart is the breadth of experience that I have, having done the corporate work and being in a TV and radio newsroom. I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different areas. So it's like it's a bit of an iceberg. If you crack it, there's a lot of knowledge there. And that's because I have such an interest in it. So I've spent my whole life researching and learning all about it. And I guess the other thing that sets me apart is I bring a lot of spirituality into my coaching, which was something initially I didn't bring in. I thought, okay, that's just a separate side. However, in the last couple of years, it's a big part of it. There's a great quote that says, our voice is the organ of the soul. The human voice is the organ of the soul. And so when I talk about speaking from the soul, my community is called Soul Speakers. It's not just a fun name. I truly believe that. And that it's so much more than being able to stand on a stage with a lectern and a microphone. It's really about being able to use this energetic channel we have to express ourselves in the world. And so a couple of months ago, actually not even a couple of months, what are we up to? This was in May. I spoke at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in London. And one of the things I shared about was how you can access your vocal power by going through different energetic centers, by accessing different chakras. And a lot of people were like, wow, that's so fascinating. I've never heard anyone speak about that. So I feel like that angle that I take on voice and speaking is very different in my industry.
I love that, Sally. So, it's about authenticity, isn't it? When you're speaking from your soul, you're speaking authentically. It's coming from you, from the innermost, deepest part. And I understand what you say about the chakras. It's something that I've, researched informally. But I suppose you speak from your throat, you speak from your heart, you speak from your gut, you speak from your center, and each of those areas of your body help you articulate what it is you're feeling and experiencing. And with that, you become genuine. The facade drops, the ego set aside, and you can speak more genuinely and authentically. I love that. That's a wonderful.
Yes, that's exactly it. So you think less about pitch. A lot of people say, oh, should I speak lower? I speak too high. And I say, forget about pitch and think about position. Where is this message coming from? Is it that heart-centered message? I've got I know you can't see me, I've got an orange shirt on today. So it's the sacral chakra. It's all about the joy and the creativity. Are you finding passion in your content? And so really, as you say, you expressed it so beautifully, when you connect what you want to say with that true part of your body, your true part of your soul it's coming from, then that's when we can really connect when we speak.
So when you're speaking from those places, you're also vulnerable. Okay, so you're giving a lot of information about yourself to the person hearing you. Is there a way that we can protect ourselves in that process?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? They say that we need to feel safe to be able to express ourselves vulnerably. You can even say that. It was actually quite funny when I first started doing my business and my webinars. I thought, well, I'm a speaking coach. I'd come from news reporting and I needed to get every single word correct. And if I made the cardinal sin of stumbling, oh my gosh, people are going to think, isn't she a speaking coach? They're going to want their money back. The business is going to go kaput. Next thing, I'm going to be on the street eating cat food out of a tin. I realized that no one really cares about the stumbles because that's what makes it real. That's what ChatGPT and a whole lot of other things can't do. And there's a difference between speaking with confidence and speaking with connection. And in order for us to do that, we need to be in that safe environment. If somebody just walked up to you who you didn't know very well and all of a sudden was baring their soul, the most vulnerable information that they could give, that would actually make you feel a little bit unsafe, because you're like, whoa, if they're sharing all of this stuff without knowing me, then maybe if I share something with them, they're going to go and tell someone straight away. I can't trust them with my information. Interesting. So when it comes to speaking vulnerably, oh my gosh, why can't I say that word, Jeannie? Vulnerably. I should have needed to do a few tongue twisters before today. um, it's more nuanced than, jumping on Instagram and bearing our deepest, darkest Saturday night fears and fantasies. So we do it bit by bit, and we intuitively know what we can share. What I will say is that conversations and life are like a tennis match. So if you'd like to get a little bit back from someone, you need to share a little bit about yourself. So if you're just starting out, if you've seen me online, you'll realize I share very openly a lot of things online. If you're just starting out, think about your colleagues. Are you sharing one thing about your life that's not work-related? And do you know one thing about their life that's not work-related? And then each time you meet someone, is there one more thing that you can learn about them? And is there one more bit of information you can share about yourself? So I find that's a good technique to get into that flow of speaking more vulnerably. And I finally said that word correctly.
It's interesting because I am a person, and there are so many witnesses. My children have witnessed this, but others have too, where people will just come up to me and tell me their story. And, I could be in the middle of shopping and they'll stop me and have this conversation, and they find themselves asking this. All of them do it. I don't know why I'm telling you this. And that's how they end it. They say, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but
Jeannie, it's your face and your energy. You have that face and energy that just makes. This is why I was drawn to you when we first met, because I'm like, I really want to just give you a hug and tell you things because I feel so safe with you. So I think you have that energy where people feel safe to be able to share.
Oh, thank you. I might have to wear a cloak at the shopping centre though.
Yeah, so you can get your groceries done.
How do you stay motivated, Sally?
I'm very fortunate. I've found my dharma, my life's mission. Every day I'm here to help people express themselves through their voice. So doing something that you truly love is the best thing to keep you motivated. The other part of it is radical self-love, in the way that if there is a day where I don't feel motivated, I don't feel like posting on social media, I just want to sit in front of Netflix and eat popcorn or something, then I do that. Like if it's a situation where I can do that, I do that and don't feel guilty about it at all. I used to not be able to rest. I think it's the curse of the perfectionist, which I've, thank goodness, let go of, where I'd be resting but feeling guilty. Oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Excuse me. I should be working. And I really let that go. And I was like, no, rest is productive. And if I do feel flat, of course, there are things to do to lift your energy, go to yoga or go for a walk. Yet sometimes the body just needs that downtime, and honoring that and giving yourself that permission to veg helps you come back 10 times more motivated the next day.
I agree, Sally. I think our body has an incredible way of telling us that it's time to take a rest. And if we resist hearing that message, it'll keep telling us that until we fall in a heap. So I think experience has taught us, when that little voice whispers, just have a little lie down and watch Netflix, do it unapologetically and self-nurture, because, you're up to you and you've got to bring your best person to the job and to enjoy it and to have that joy, like to do it with joy. Yeah, and I can hear it in your voice. I see it in your presence. I remember when I first met you, you were so joyful and energetic, and it was beautiful. Hence why I'd love to have you on the podcast and share your story. So what have been some of your memorable highs, Sally?
Memorable would be going viral on TikTok. So it was around February 2020. And I had like 45 followers. I was just on this new app, and it was 45 people who I kind of happened to know in the world who were on it. And I posted this video after I'd done a workshop somewhere without too much thought, just sharing a few things that you can do to sound more credible when you speak. Anyway, put my phone away. Next thing, I pick it up and it was going crazy. They talk about your phone blowing up. I didn't know whether to like hang on to it or throw it out the window. And I rang my boyfriend who was away for work, and I was like, something's happened. Like, oh my gosh, like he thought I'd been injured or something. He said, Sal, what's happened? I said, oh, the video, it's going crazy. And it had been up to about 60,000 views. Anyway, I went from 45 followers to 10,000 in less than a week. And then from then it went up to 50 and then to 100, and it's around 340,000 now. It's very much plateaued. However, I remember in those early stages, just that taking off being such a memorable time when so many people thought that it just because of COVID, I decided to get online and was this overnight sensation, rather than it being, I guess, the culmination of all the skills and experience that I had and a little bit luck of the draw for it to happen. I'm glad it did. It did bring a lot more eyeballs onto the business, which is great. And it taught me a lot of lessons around not people pleasing and not caring what people think. Because being viral on social media, it is tough.
So what people think is none of your business, right? So, but you had this explosive post. What was it? Can you share?
I'm happy to share. It's a post that I would not post now. It's very negative. It was, don't do these 3 things if you want to sound competent, confident, and credible. And I talked about vocal fry, which is this crackly kind of sound when you haven't got nice airflow. I talked about the rising inflection at the end of every sentence, like this. And what was the third one? I think it was like sort of like, using lots of filler words. So it was very shareable, and had a good hook at the start before I even knew what a hook was. And the reason I wouldn't do that now is I tend to want my content to be more positive, rather than kind of angry school teacher being like, don't do these things, don't do this, don't do that. I'm more now ignore the rules and speak from your own voice. So yes, when I watch that video, I do cringe a little bit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound like a cranky school teacher, which is probably half the reason it went viral, because a lot of people didn't like it.
Oh, that's fascinating. Probably a lot of people related to it, actually. Had all the filler words to describe your video. Comparing your business to when you started, how many wins have you had? Like, what have been some of your major wins? So besides this TikTok video, how has your business developed?
Yeah, I feel like the win has been that it has steadily grown over 5 years, coming up to 5 years through COVID and everything, being in business, still loving what I do, having a fantastic word of mouth referrals as well as new people coming in. I feel like that is a great win. In 2020, winning a Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, that was a really memorable high. So to get that was really great. I feel like it's been lots of just little wins. Just now, as we're speaking, Jeannie, somebody signed up to my online course. Like, that's a celebration. That's a win.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I feel like I have so many things to celebrate each day. In May, I ran my first international event. I ran an event in London. So that was a great win. I did a masterclass for business chicks earlier this week, which was a great win. I feel like there's so many. There's not really big ones. I feel like there's lots of small ones, and nothing is too big or little to celebrate.
Oh, I agree. That's wonderful. And acknowledging those opportunities and, expanding your reach is just wonderful. Do you celebrate in a particular way when you have a major win? So do you think, oh, cracking the champagne, or I'm just going to give myself a pat on the back, or do you just take a moment and smile and think, wow, I did that?
Well, I was doing the champagne thing, but then I thought, no, I'm drinking too much, because every day I'd be like, oh, wine, oh, wine. So not so much. I really do. I write a list. So I have a a journaling practice. Like it's like a gratitude practice where I'll write down the wins. I share a lot with my beautiful partner, Patrick. He's like my unofficial 2IC. So I'll do a lot of opening the office door, going, guess what just happened? And we'll celebrate things that way. And I do a lot of travel. I really enjoy travel and taking trips. And so I feel like that's always a good opportunity to sit back and celebrate.
I agree. That's a great way to do it. Sally, who's your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration are my clients. People who are investing time and money and effort into improving themselves. It's just so inspiring. I have one client who wanted to work on storytelling. And she's saying, oh, I really want to get across to my team how we can work together. You know, it was a teamwork thing, and what can I do? And we've been working on different stories that she can share and different frameworks she can use. And she messaged me yesterday and said, Sal, I did the story and everybody loved it and it went down so well and I'm so happy about it. And I share that story, one, because it was recent, it was just yesterday. Also because it's not people going, I've done my TEDx, which I also have clients who do things like that. You know, I've done my TEDx. I've spoken at an international conference. It's not necessarily those big stage moments. It's those small moments where it's like, wow, I feel like I really got across to my team in this week's team meeting. Or guess what, Sal? I put my first Instagram story up. Or I've been thinking about you and I posted a video and I didn't record it 100 times before posting. You know, so I hear these stories every day and I'm like, that is so awesome. And it's my clients that inspire me to invest in myself and to work on my own skills because I see how much effort they're putting in and it's got that beautiful roll-on effect.
Clients being an inspiration and also recognizing that they've got out of their own way. They're facing their own imposter syndrome or am I worthy enough? Am I good enough? And to step into that is a huge, bold step. Remarkable because we've all been there. We've all been in that moment where you've just got to take a leap, hope that you're doing the best you can. And yeah, that's fantastic. So is there a book that's helped your mindset and your thinking?
Yes, I got it off the shelf this morning, actually. It's a book called The Antidote. It's called The Antidote by someone called Oliver Burkeman. And the tagline is happiness for people who can't stand positive thinking. Happiness for people who can't stand positive thinking. And it's such a great book. I'm laughing because I love positive thinking. And I'm like, you know, give me all the positive affirmations. I'm all for that. This book, though, really changed the way that I thought about a lot of things, including goal setting. So he shares this story about what they call summit fever, which is people who want to climb Everest. And sometimes a group of climbers was so set on their goal of reaching the summit, they made a decision which meant that they never got back down because they were in the death zone for too long. So in their pursuit of their goal, they actually lost their lives. It's a really good story and it's really stuck with me. And it's helped me realize that if we set a goal and we change it, that's okay. If we don't meet it, actually, that's more than okay. If I meet my goals, I think, oh gosh, should have made that a bit higher, you know? And he also talks in the book about embracing your greatest fears. So he's like, if your greatest fear is, well, I mentioned earlier, me being out in the street eating cat food out of a tin, then the book would say, well, how about you do that? Wake up one day like you have absolutely nothing and go out and do that and see that you'll be absolutely fine. And so I really like that approach, and it really challenged a lot of my thinking around goals, around fears, and around positive thinking in general. So The Antidote, Oliver Burkeman.
I love it. I'm going to look it up. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. What's the best piece of advice you've received?
Well, this one was from a beautiful coach. I was lying on her couch crying. I was crying because the video had gone viral for all the wrong reasons. It was about pronunciation or something. And People were making videos saying this is Australia's most dangerous woman and don't listen to anything she says. She's just making you feel, don't let her stop you using your voice. And it was all of these things that really cut to the core of what I'm about. Like, they were saying that I was doing the opposite of what I set out to do, which is to make people feel confident in the way they speak. Anyway, so there I am going, oh, they don't understand me. It's not what I meant. And she said, Sal, you got to live life in your disco ball. You got to live life in your disco ball. Keep on shining. Keep on dancing. You get to decide who comes to your party, and you get to decide who is a reflection straight back on them. That changed the game for me when it came to people pleasing or caring what people think. It's like we decide who comes to our party, and the people who we know and we love and who are in our lives, like, they're the opinions that matter. And we get to decide who comes to our party and who is a reflection straight back. And especially in the online world, most of what is said is a reflection on the person. Actually, I shouldn't even say online, real life as well. So, yeah. And I love dancing, and I love discos, and I love high heels. So that metaphor really worked for me.
I love that. So good. And you do. You love life and it loves you back. Can you give us 3 tips about voice? I know you've mentioned some of the negative ones in that viral TikTok, but what would you say to our audience right now?
What I would say is your voice is often sabotaged before it's even made, right? Your voice is sabotaged before it's even made, and it's our inner voice that drives our physical voice. So there are 3 things that you can work on before you even make a sound that will make all the difference in any speaking scenario, whether it's a podcast or on stage or online. And the first part of it, there's 3 parts. Part 1 is belief. So it's forming the belief statement around, I have something valuable to say. People want to listen to me. I deserve this space. You can add a few F-bombs, if you like, in there just to give it extra effect. But it's really thinking, what is that soundtrack running in my mind? Then step 2 is to get into your body. With voice, something I'm seeing so much of and hearing so much of is voices stuck from the neck up. And so the pitch is really high and the pace is really fast and we're overthinking and we're over worrying and it's all up here. If we can get the voice down into our body, and you can do that by flexing your toes, by rubbing your thighs, by twisting through the middle, by dancing, by really getting into your body. A good dance before speaking is fantastic. Once I did some running. I ran around the auditorium. I was like, oh, really underestimated my fitness. So just do something that will make you feel in your body without being completely out of breath. Okay. So once you're feeling in your body, that's when you can go to step 3, which is the breath. And oxygen fuels our voice. Without breath, there is no voice. And when you feel your voice getting tight or restricted or crackling, it's to do with the breath. So if you think about the windpipe being like a garden hose, you want that to be nice and free. And if it's kinked, then the water's going to spurt out, which is why you get that kind of restricted, crackly sound, or it's not going to come out at all. And that's why there's this phrase that we choked up. We choked up because we lost our air. So if you've got that belief statement, what am I thinking? You're in your body. How am I feeling? And that beautiful breath is going low and deep into your belly and cruising out as you speak, thinking on that in-breath and speaking on that out-breath, then you're going to be fine. If you've got those 3 things, you've always got it. And one thing I'll add here is, did you notice that it's had nothing to do with what you were saying? And I feel like that's the number one mistake, is the question is always, what am I going to say? Rather than, how do I feel and how do I want the audience to feel? So if we take that focus away from the content and put it more into our energy state, that's when the content will come.
I agree. I know now that you've actually articulated that, I know myself, there's times that, I feel constricted when I'm speaking, and it all has to do with the airflow. And then there's other times when I've, had made a public speech. And I think, where did that come from? Who is she? Who is this person that just nailed this, moment? So, yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, because you had your crown chakra open. So when we have that belief in that body and that breath, we really open up the channel. So people will say, oh, speaking off the cuff, I like to call it direct download. If you get yourself to be a vessel for a direct download, then you have those experiences like you just described, Jeannie, where you're like, wow, where did that come from? I don't even know what I said, but it was good.
The magical moments when they happen. Sally, we're going to go through 22 questions, quick, short, sharp responses so that people can learn more about you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What makes you smile?
Animal friends, like dogs that are friends with birds or like ducks that are friends with cows.
What's your favourite cuisine?
Italian.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Antarctica.
Do you prefer to text or call?
Definitely call. Voice coach, got to say call.
Do you play a musical instrument? Do you sing or dance, hum, whistle, or something else?
Well, I sing and dance a lot, but I think speaking is the only thing I'm going to get paid for. So,
What's your happy place?
the bath, a beautiful bubble bath.
What movie would you recommend?
I haven't got a movie for you, but I just finished watching the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary on Netflix called Arnold, and I'd highly recommend it. It's a great documentary.
What's your favourite city and why?
Oh, favorite city, San Sebastian in Spain. It's like the perfect blend of nature and fashion and amazing food.
Do you prefer white wine, red wine, champagne, or another drink?
Ooh, I'd say champagne. Absolutely. Love a glass of bubbles.
What's your biggest strength?
The ability to run my life on my own terms.
If you could catch up with anyone, who would it be?
Taylor Swift. Obviously.
Have you got tickets?
I got Saturday night in Melbourne. I'm still on a high from that adrenaline dump of last Friday.
Oh my goodness. My daughters have their tickets and they are still on a high. So, you can imagine what's going to be happening in this household.
Oh, Jeannie, I feel it. It's really been. I've been calling it the Taylor Swift effect. I've really been feeling it.
Yeah. I've been feeling it too.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. What's your favourite meal? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Dinner.
What's your favourite time of day?
Sunset, definitely.
What was the best holiday you've had?
It was a beautiful driving holiday we did to Tasmania, which was during the lockdowns. So sadly, while Victoria and New South Wales were locked down, Queenslanders could fly to Tasmania. And it's like we had the whole state to ourselves. And it was such a great holiday.
Do you speak another language?
I speak Brazilian Portuguese because I did a year in Brazil when I finished high school.
Do you enjoy sweet or savoury?
Savoury. I'm a little bit salty.
Is there a cause that you're passionate about?
Yes, young women, confidence in young women.
If you could have 3 guests at your table, who would they be?
3. Ooh. Taylor Swift, definitely. She'd be there. And Meghan Markle. And Jeannie. I'll give you the 3rd spot.
Oh, what a privilege. I will have so much fun.
Yeah, that'd be the best.
If you were a hashtag, what would it be?
Well, I do kind of have a hashtag, hashtag soul speaker.
How would you like to be remembered?
Oh. As somebody who led with joy and kindness and really helped a lot of people express themselves better in the world.
Sally, that's wonderful. Thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. I'm sure our roads will cross once again. Thank you very much, Sally.
Look forward to it, Jeannie. Thank you so much.
Until next time. You've been listening to Business Class presented by Eugenia Panterhos, founder of Business Class Collective. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcast, subscribe, rate and review this podcast. Share the love and let your family and friends know too. You can follow Business Class Collective on Instagram and Facebook. Join me next time.